I click record, so we've begun.
Oh, we've already clicked record. You can't see it while you're sharing your screen then.
I just clicked it. But yeah, go ahead.
Welcome to another online Toastmasters meeting on our summer meetings. I'm going to go ahead and open up the meeting. Don't have the gavel, but imagine me just hitting it right there. And I think we're going to have a pretty good meeting. We've got a speaker, series of table topics. We're running a little late, but that's okay. I think we'll still finish on time. And I'm going to go ahead and transition into my role as president and Toastmaster. So I'm Slate Nation's president of Toastmasters UGA. And Toastmasters is a club where you improve your public speaking skills, communication skills, and leadership skills. Our club is formatted into 3 sections: prepared speeches, impromptu speeches, and the evaluation section. And our agenda clearly lays that out as well. And just a few other pointers, some quick online etiquette. Make sure to mute yourself when you're not speaking. Utilize the Zoom chat for timer if you're doing any speaking roles. So keep an eye on that, hit your minimum times. And also some other little traditions we have is we like to clap a lot. So in place of that, for online setting, we just use the little reaction at the top or bottom of your Zoom. You can click react, and then there should be a little thumbs up or just clapping. We also have a word of the day our grammarian will talk about. And normally in in-person meetings, we have to snap when that happens, show that they used it incorrectly, but we just do a thumbs up reaction as well for that. That just about covers most of the basics. I hope you enjoy the meeting. I'll now call on our reporter roles to show what they'll be doing throughout the meeting. Start with our grammarian, who is Tricia Perez. Tricia, you can introduce your role.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's great. Whoa, a little bit of feedback. It's great to see everyone here for this Monday evening. As the role of grammarian, I will be keeping track of uses of grammar throughout the meeting, whether they're particularly good or maybe some that could be improved. Additionally, like Slate said, we have a word of the day today, which in this case is the word precipice, which is a noun meaning an overhanging or extremely steep mass of rock, such as a crag or the face of a cliff. But alternatively, it can also mean the brink that you're at the brink of a dangerous or disastrous situation. So for an example on how you could use this word, like my 4th grade self was in the middle of the spelling bee and at the precipice of losing the championship for their grade level with a single word or a single mistake. So if anyone uses the word of the day, like Slate said, I'll be keeping track of it, and you can use the reactions to give credit to that person. Thank you.
Great job, Tricia. Next, we have our all-counter reporter, which is Courtney today. And Courtney, you can explain your role.
Yeah, thank you, Slate. So today I will be the all counter. So I will be keeping track of people using filler words like well, so, like, or but. And I will keep track of that throughout the meeting. And then at the end of the meeting, I will report back to you guys how we did throughout the meeting. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Courtney. And last, we have our timer, who is Scott for today. Scott, can you introduce timer and explain how you'll be keeping track and reminding us?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure thing, Slate. So hey there, you guys. So my role for today, timer, I'm just going to be making sure all of us stay in time, whether it be people giving their speeches today or if we do things such as table topics. My job would be to make sure no one goes past their time limit. So for our speaker, it would be no more than 5 to 7 minutes. For table topics, it would be no more than a minute or two. And then at the end of the meeting, I'll just mention how all of us did as far as keeping in time, I think. So yeah, back to you, Slate.
All right, thanks, Scott. Thank you for that. Those are all three of our reporter roles. They'll be doing their duties throughout the meeting. And before I close out the agenda, stop sharing my screen, I'm just gonna say our mission statement myself real quick. We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. And with that, we're ready to go into our prepared speech today. And Justin, before I call on you, do you need screen sharing or are you just giving your speech? Oh, I'm sorry, you're muted, I think.
Yeah, no, my bad. Well, yeah, I'm good.
Okay, awesome. All right, let me introduce you. Our first and only speaker today is Justin Hurd, and he will be giving a speech today on the civil rights of the blind, a 5 to 7 minute speech working towards his pathway level 1 feedback and evaluation. Are you ready, Justin? You can begin.
Okay, give me a sec. Okay. Thank you so much, Toastmaster, President and Sergeant at Arms Slate, with all the hats you're wearing today. I want to call you Doc or Shoo from The Last Airbender. Many of us in recent weeks have heard about discrimination against various minority groups. Black Americans experience disproportionate police brutality when compared to other races. Until the recent Supreme Court ruling, it was possible to fire someone based on their marital status, which affected LGBT people. But have any of you heard about discrimination against the blind? It's much less flashy. No one's being shot, beaten with batons, and no property is being destroyed because of blind civil rights issues, but that doesn't make them less important. So I'd like to share with you a few of them today. Many blind children do not experience an equivalent education to their non-blind peers. When I was in school, I had a cane travel instructor. She was responsible for teaching me how to use my cane, use public transportation, and perform complicated street crossings. I saw this person 1 or 2 times a month for maybe 2 to 2.5 hours, and that was not enough time. The county refused to allow us to go to cities with public transportation, saying that it was too dangerous. They would not fund a security guard to compensate for that. I could not go to complicated street crossings because they were too far away. I also could not do independent routes. I couldn't get a certain distance from my instructor because they said that that was too dangerous as well. All this resulted in me not really knowing how to travel by myself before I graduated. Another area blind students can experience discrimination is with learning Braille. Surprisingly, a lot of teachers of blind students don't know Braille, so they don't teach it. The ones that do often choose not to teach it. And therefore, 50% blind people are illiterate, one of the largest contributing factors. They say, we have audiobooks, we have digital books. Why do we need Braille? Well, actually reading, results in good grammar, good spelling, and thus good grades. Without those things, grades plummet. Blind students that have more vision than others are forced to read large print. In some cases, that's okay, but in others, they read 72-point font with the book pressed against their face. They read for so long and so hard that their eyes are strained and they get a headache, and they can't do it. They can't digest lengthy material, and thus grades plummet. Many of these same students will go totally blind later on in life and will lose the ability to read basic information like room numbers and bathroom signs. Because of these barriers and more, 33% of blind students drop out of high school. So let's say a blind student makes it and gets to college. What then? Well, even colleges discriminate against blind people. For example, I had to use a program my freshman year called my math lab, my math course, The textbook was provided through that program and was completely inaccessible. I had no Braille textbook, so I couldn't feel the graphs. The digital textbook was completely inaccessible. Every new math problem I had to do, someone had to teach me how to do it, every new one. The equation editor, where I entered in all the special math symbols, was also inaccessible. So I had to try to figure that out, and often couldn't do it at all. Someone had to enter in the answers to problems for me. This resulted in spending 8 to 10 hours on math homework a week. Sometimes that happened 3 hours a day. Another math situation, I had a professor tell me that a blind student couldn't pass a math class, and she told Disability Services that she refused to accommodate me, that she wouldn't do anything, wouldn't help at all, and if they wanted me to take her class, they would have to do all the work. Many blind students are shut out of STEM fields. Professors in colleges say that a blind person can't use lab equipment despite the fact that readily accessible equipment exists. They either refuse to purchase it or the professor refuses to use it. And even if that isn't the case, some professors won't even let them in the labs at all. They say that the lab is too dangerous, despite the fact that we have many blind chemists, physicists, and other scientists in the field. Only 16% of blind people graduate with a bachelor's degree or higher. So what happens next when you want a job as a blind person? That's the next best thing. Well, despite the fact that it's illegal to discriminate based on disability for employers, it still happens. An equally qualified blind person will likely not get the job compared to a non-blind person. Additionally, just last year, a woman went blind and was told that, was promised on paper that she could have her job back whenever she regained the skills she needed. So she did that. She went to blindness training, got all the skills she needed to do the job. And was a cafeteria worker, actually. And after that happened, they told her that it was not safe for a blind person to do the job and fired her. This happens for basic desk jobs. They said it's unsafe for a blind person to sit at a desk and navigate the office. In other cases, blind people get hired, but then the software that they would like to use is inaccessible to them. They can't use it, it doesn't work. And in many cases, there is another version of their system that is accessible. But rather than the company upgrading to that system, which works better for the employees, works better for the clients, is more accessible, which is required by law for them to do, they fire the employees. 70% of blind people are unemployed. And let's say that a blind person wants to have a family. Well, in many states, it is legal to take a child away from a blind parent solely based on their disability, on blindness. In some cases, children are torn from their parents' arms before they leave the hospital and aren't reunited with their children for 2 years. So if this fires you up, take hope. We, the Organized Blind of America, are working hard to fight against these injustices and fight for equality, opportunity, and security. If you're interested, please reach out. We will put you to work and the experience will change your life. Thank you.
Amazing speech, Justin. Thank you very much for that. I definitely got fired up myself, learned a ton of new info. Take this next 45 seconds to please leave Justin any feedback from his speech. You can send that to him directly in the Zoom chat by switching the everyone to Justin Heard, and I'll send him a quick private message. Normally in our meetings, we do this on slips of paper. It's anonymous, so that he will know who it's from, but please give him any constructive criticism for any way he could improve, what parts he liked, and throughout the meeting, you can also leave me, or wait till the end, leave me feedback as well as my role as Toastmaster. So we'll just let that play out. Okay. And normally we would vote for best speaker and best evaluators, but we only have one. So Justin is best speaker by default, and Courtney will be best evaluator by default. We'll now move on to our second portion of the meeting, impromptu speeches or table topics, and as being led by table topic master Sourin today. And he'll tell you all about the time limits, how his section is going to go. And I'm now going to hand it over to Sourin. Take it away, Sourin.